Yeah, we're doing this. We're going to talk about something that the Call of Duty fan base basically agrees is bad. I'm going to be talking about why the Black Ops 3 campaign really wasn't that bad. That's right. I'm going to talk about the good things about it, what it did right.
Hear me out.
I am not going to lie. This campaign does have its fair share of problems. It is confusing at times. The writing can make no sense at certain points. The ending alone made some people really scratch their heads as to what was really going on at that point. It confused me as well. But that doesn't mean that there are not some good qualities. Yes, I know hiding the story away from the player via super fast scrolling for level intros is contrived. But what do you expect from the makers of the whole Treyarch zombie story? It's going to be complicated to some degrees. In this case, it was a lot. But I digress. So, without further delay, let's install our DNIs, hack into people's brains for funsies. These are 6 things that I liked about the Black Ops 3 campaign. Number 1. Character customization. Being able to put one's look and spin on things can make any kind of experience more immersive. In regards to Black Ops 3, I felt that this was a good thing to go with. It was different. It made it to where you could customize your look and loadouts. Certain builds you went with on your weapons and abilities really did matter. Yes, every level can be passed without too much of a problem no matter what kind of loadout you create. But certain builds and abilities can make your run in certain campaign levels a lot easier. The game actually lets you plot out what kind of loadout you want to take with you before each mission, thanks to the safe house area. Before each mission, you are told what kind of enemies to expect and what kind of ranges to expect to be shot from. This will allow you to choose what kind of cyber cores to equip for combat and what kind of weapons to take with you. So yeah, the combat may still be Call of Duty, and the enemies are as dumb as a box of rocks, but that doesn't mean that they aren't dangerous, especially the robot ones. And without proper abilities, you will get overwhelmed. Number 2, the voice acting. You can't honestly tell me that none of the voice actors had fun with these roles. Some even use their own likeness to portray their characters in-game. You can hear concern, sarcasm, excitement, etc. Not to mention most of the cast are bigger names in the voice acting and acting scene. To say the least, if the execution of the plot for the game was lacking for some, then they should agree that the voice acting was at least above average. I mean, having Steve Bloom, Christopher Maloney, Katie Sackhoff are just naming a few. If you were to look up the cast list for this game, you would get around 90 rows of credit. So yes, this is a good thing in my opinion. The writing may not have been the best in certain areas, but the voice acting is definitely better than other entries into the series.
Something that you can't explain.
Number 3, having online and local co-op. We have not had a legitimate co-op campaign since World at War in the series, till this entry. To some, this is a minor thing, because really, people play these games for multiplayer and rely on zombies for their co-op needs. And that is pretty much it. But I am the few and the proud who actually do play Call of Duty campaigns. Every once in a while, I want a militaristic story with bombastic action. Me and a friend of mine have actually played through the campaign about 3 times together, and we loved every second of it. We didn't take it seriously, we just had fun with it. It was the only thing in the game that they would even touch. Multiplayer was a bit much for them, and zombies just freaked them out. So the campaign was our perfect little playground. It was actually thanks to me playing on co-op that made me appreciate the concept even more. Having another person face off against hordes of enemies with you and using different abilities actually really did come in handy. It made those higher difficulty missions a lot more manageable. Also, allowing for people to take different paths than you in these larger maps did make a difference in how many enemies were after you at the same time. Number 4. Level design. Oh boy, I know that people had some major problems with this one. But I have to say, with all due respect, it was actually fun to go through some of the crazy mind-bending levels that the game threw you into. The first time you experience this is when you interface with Sarah Hull's character. Things get bizarre and fast. You start going through her memories and own emotions in order to find out what is really driving the antagonist's actions. As you swim through her melting pot of a mind, you fight off artillery, ghostly World War II soldiers, and even zombies eventually. This made my mind do a backflip in delight because of how cool it was. What Call of Duty game actually lets you go through this kind of mind blow unless you were solving a zombie's Easter egg? I'll answer that for you. None of them. But besides that one level, the rest of the game pulled no punches in messing with your head and making you wonder what was going to happen next and what kind of challenges you would be faced with. Would you face a mini-boss, take on an actual boss, have to scale a building using your cybernetics to reach your next objective, hold out against swarms of flying and ground troops? To say the least, the level design wasn't that awful. I believe that it was just so different for people, and they were so sick of the futuristic style of things. Thanks, Advanced Warfare. We as a community wanted something new. We got it, but we didn't fully embrace it. Number 5. Cyber abilities are awesome. I never thought in a million years that I would play a game where I would be hacking weapons and brains in order to get the upper hand. This was kind of a main appeal to me. I liked the concept of hacking, manipulating, and leaping bounds in order to overwhelm your enemies. One of the main cybernetic enhancements that you are introduced to that is practically a cheat code is tactical mode. This is a view mode that you can turn on and off at any time. It allows you to see what projectiles are coming at you and where you can maneuver to without getting shot up too much. Not to mention, whatever you or your AI buddies see, you all see as well. You will be able to see dudes through walls and coordinate what enemies are best to attack first. At first, this is practically cheating, but seeing how vulnerable you are and what you're up against 90% of the game, you need that advantage in order to get out alive. Being able to wall run has been an FPS platformer's dream since Prince of Persia. So being able to do it in a Call of Duty game is actually pretty cool in concept and in action. You can scale up to vantage points to pick off enemies. You can get across chasms that you know are impossible to get across conventionally. The list goes on with what kind of benefits you get from this. Then we get to the nitty-gritty, the cyber cores themselves. These things will give you your main abilities. This can range from distractions, disabling weapons and limbs, controlling robots, all the way down to making people choke where they stand and turning invisible. These are all beneficial in their own ways. Some are more useful than others, and some are purely situational, but every core is geared towards a specific playstyle. Chaos is well-rounded with a special melee and allows you to mainly cause things to combust. Control allows you to manipulate electronics and cybernetics in order to take down your enemies. Martial allows you to move faster, execute multiple deadly melee strikes. Each core kind of acts as its own class per se. When you have a partner or a couple of partners with you, this concept can make things extremely chaotic on the battlefield. And number 6, the story concept. And this is probably where a lot of people are going to tear my head off in the comments. The concept of knowing whether you are human or machine does play a main role in the story. The question that is thrown at you a lot is, if having all this power, all of that information, really worth it? Would you even consider yourself a normal human being? You see this reflected with how vast our reach is when it comes to knowledge and how easy it is to kill and manipulate throughout the campaign. What if we did open ourselves up to something that we would regret? Ignorance is bliss, so they say. This is explored even further when an AI starts taking over the minds of soldiers that makes them start committing treason. The secrets that are discovered throughout the story makes you question what is the truth and what is a lie, who can be trusted and who is really already compromised. Power is a funny thing, and having your brain connected to so many other brains can have a powerful effect on anyone. So, all in all, I understood the concept that Treyarch was going for. It just could have been handled a bit better. I do acknowledge that these are entirely my own opinions, so everyone is going to feel differently about the game. I just wanted to shine a positive light on something that people mostly think is crap. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Don't be afraid to put something in the comments and talk about it. Please keep them respectful, of course. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.